couple of years ago, I was outside cutting the grass. I like to do that. It's kind of soothing. But as I was cutting the grass, I was in the backyard of the house in Akron, and we have a chain link fence that goes around the backyard. And I was kind of getting close to one of the sides over there, and I noticed that there were some branches sticking through the chain link fence. So I said, well, you know what? I need to take care of that because I'm going to be going next to it with a lawnmower pretty soon, and I don't want to run into it. So I, stopped the lawnmower. I went inside and got a saw and those lopper things, those. So I went out there and I started working on this branch, and I was sawing on it, and is the correct term loppering? No, it's not. So I cut the branch off, right? I was like, yeah, that looks pretty good. And then I looked down and I saw some more. Well, I got to cut those off too because I'm going to run into those as well. And then I said, well, the ones way down there now look really weird because they're sticking out and all of these other ones are cut off. So I had to go down and cut all those off as well, right? So when I was done, I go inside and, I'm inside for a couple of hours here. And my wife comes up and she said, hey, Phil. I was like, yeah. I think she's going to say, what a great job you did out back. She goes, why is the lawnmower still in the middle of the yard and half the grass isn't cut? I was like, oh. Yeah, I was cutting and I got distracted by those branches sticking out of the fence. Has that ever happened to you during yard work and you get distracted? Or not? Is that just me? Yeah? Yeah, I got distracted. I forgot to cut the rest of the yard. I was like, wow, that's not cool. So I had to go out and finish all that, right? But have you ever been distracted by something in your life? Anything? Like you have a task set up for right here, and then you see something over here, and go, well, I need to go check this out real quick. Or fix this other problem. And then you never get back to the task at hand. Has that ever happened to you? Yeah. I don't know about you. I am pretty easily distracted. You know those cartoons where it has the dog out back and he says, squirrel? That's totally who I am, I get distracted by squirrels in my own backyard. So some of us kind of can focus really well. Who here can focus really, really well? None of you. Great. 1, 2. Who here of you are like me and is distracted easily? Okay. I like the honesty in the room. I can work with this. This is good. Right? Because what happens when we're distracted, it pulls us away from what we're supposed to be doing. Right? Every church I've ever been in, the following happens. And if you're part of this, nothing personal. We're sitting here in church, and we're going along, and we're praying or something, and all of a sudden you hear this, and somebody's talking in the church. And it's supposed to be quiet. Somebody's been distracted, right? And they're distracting somebody else to talk about something in the church, right? Probably a really great point the pastor made. Okay, that's probably what happens, I know. Right? And then other people in church hear them talking, and what do? You ever seen that? Have you ever done that? Have you ever been the one talking? Ah, there you go. We get distracted, right? We came here to worship, but we get distracted with stuff. Some of us come to church and we're sitting in church going, oh, wow, let me see, did I take the meat out of the freezer so I can cook dinner tonight? Or, wow, I got to go home and I got to go shopping, and while I'm at Walmart, I need to pick up milk and eggs. I forgot about that. Have you ever been in church and your thoughts go other places? Yeah? There's not as much confession going on. Yeah. We do that, right? We are beings, I think, that get distracted pretty easily. At least, I know. I do. And there's one thing in this world that causes, I think, more distractions than anything else. What is it? Katie? The cell phone. The cell phone. The cell phone. Right? Here these guys walking along and he walk into a manhole cover. People do that, by the way. I've seen videos of people walking into holes on the ground because they're distracted by this device. I love my cell phone. It's a great tool. It's a great thing. I can play games on it if I want to as well. But it'd be so distracting. You go to a kid's concert and everybody's on their phones, right? You go to a family event and people are on their phones. They eat at the dinner table. You go to a restaurant, your whole family, and they're all distracted by what's on their phone, right? We're so distracted so easily, right? Because like the world is on that cell phone, right? We're distracted by it. It also can cause accidents in cars because we're on the phone instead of paying attention to the road. Occasionally, if I'm near one of my kids and we're at a restaurant and they pull up the cell phone, I'll just text them and say, hi. So at least I'm communicating, right? Right, Katie? Yeah. That's how that works, man. Yeah, but we are creatures, I think, that can be distracted pretty easily. Which brings us into this gospel story today. Jesus arrives at a house, and it says that a lady named Martha opens the door and says, hey, come on in, Jesus, right? And he walks into the house, and Martha's got a sister named Mary. And we don't really know exactly what's happening. We assume that there's some sort of maybe a meal being prepared at this point in time. Because Martha, it says, busies herself with getting things ready. And Jesus goes into a different room, and Mary follows him. Now, Mary here does something that the women of the day really shouldn't have been doing, is she knelt at the feet of Jesus to listen to him preach in a home. He was the rabbi. Usually this was the men who should have done this. But she went and she knelt at the feet of Jesus because she wanted to hear what he had to say. Now, Martha is in the kitchen, we assume, right? Or somewhere else, getting things ready. And she's not getting any help. Have you ever been there? In the kitchen? During Thanksgiving? Or during First Friday meal? And you're like, where's all my help? They're out there talking and having fun. You ever done that? Yeah. Why am I the only one doing dishes in the house? Well, they're watching TV. You ever done that before? Yeah, we're so focused on that task that nobody else can have any fun as long as we're doing that task, right? I think we've all done that. But Martha even goes to Jesus and says, hey, can you tell Mary to get back here? Do you care? She says, do you care that Mary's not helping me? Do you care? I think Jesus cares a lot. But Jesus' reply is amazing because he says, Mary is doing what she needs to be doing. She has chosen the right path, right? You're busy, we assume, doing the kitchen work and getting a meal prepared, right? Getting all the stuff done. You're so focused on that you've lost sight of what's important. But Mary hasn't. Mary knows the work has to be done, but she's here listening to what I have to say. Her mind is focused on God, and her mind is focused on Christ. And Jesus is saying that's where our minds need to be focused. Not saying that you can't be in the kitchen, not saying that you can't get things ready and do stuff, but as we do so, that we keep in mind that we're doing everything in all of this for God and for Jesus. Have you ever gotten so busy in your life that you forget to even thank God or invite God into that presence? Sometimes that happens. Sometimes I go, hey, how you doing today? And Dick will say, well, I got this going on and this going on and this. He gives me a laundry list of things that he's doing. That wasn't the question I asked. I said, how are you doing? Not what are you doing? But that's our response. We give a laundry list of everything that we're doing. I'm taking the kids all over the place. I got so many things going on. I'm really, really, really busy. And when we get like that, we tend to lose sight of what and who we're doing things for. We're getting the busy stuff done. But are we taking God along for the trip? You can be really busy and have God in your midst, right? All you got to do is slow down a little bit. Maybe Martha should have just said, you know what? The meal will wait. I'm going to peek my head in there and hear what Jesus has to say. And if the meal's 5 minutes late, I don't think anybody's going to really care. She was so focused on getting the activities done that she lost sight of God. And I think that's our fear today, right? We lose sight of God because we're so busy doing all of our stuff. Okay? Martha and Mary. One's busy with everything. One's trying to sit at the feet of Jesus learning and understanding. I get busy sometimes with the logistical stuff of being a pastor. I got to get this done, 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 I got this meeting, I got this meeting. And there's that danger that I lose sight of Christ during that stuff. Because I'm just making laundry lists of things and items that I need to accomplish. And when that happens, I think we run into some dangerous territory because we're not taking God with us wherever we go. It's so easy to take God with us when we do the dishes, right? Yeah, you can do dishes with God with you. You can enjoy that task. Cooking dinner the same way, cutting the grass the same way, fixing the car the same way. Whatever it is we're doing, we're working. If we bring God along with us on that journey, we can have a different outcome. We might still be busy, but as you're driving your kids to whatever sporting event they got going on next, how about you sing a couple of songs and bring joy into the car? Right? Bring God with you. Have a little prayer before your kids go off and saying, God's going to take care of you, and I'll be here waiting for you when I get back, right? There's ways that we can incorporate God into every part of our lives so we're not full of just this busy stuff. Because we get distracted. The whole idea is we get distracted by everything else and we lose sight of God. Most workplace accidents happen because people get distracted. I'm paying attention over here when I should be paying attention over here. You ever walk through the house and walk into a piece of furniture? And you get the big knot on your leg? Right? Because you're probably distracted by something or another. My dogs distract me all of the time. Tripping over dogs, you ever happen to that? Tripping over cats? There's a distraction, and it pulls our attention away from where it really should be. Okay? And the slide up here, it's got pictures of Mary and Martha, and one in the center that's blank. And it says, do you feel more like Mary or Martha as you gather here today? Are you caught up in all of the busyness in life, or are you really spending time with God? Where are you on this little scale here? Are you closer to Martha, or are you closer to Mary? And here's the quiz. Which one was the one who was caught up in being busy? Martha was. Martha was. Mary was the one who was sitting at the feet of Jesus. Who's Mary? Yeah. Where are you on that line? Are you closer to the Martha or are you closer to the Mary? I would have guessed if we had to take a poll here and be honest with one another, I would imagine most of us would be leaning closer to Martha than Mary in our everyday lives. Because we have busy lives, we really do. But we can't let that distract us from the relationship with God. I can be really, really busy, and I can still give God all the credit and all the time while I'm doing all of these things. But if I leave God behind and only see Him on Sunday morning for an hour, I'm missing out. It's not that God's going to be angry with me. It's that I'm missing out on a relationship with my Lord and Savior Jesus. If I only spend 1 hour a week with Him, and I feel good after that hour, right? Imagine if you spend 24 hours a day with Jesus. How good you'll feel at the end of that week. Because you're not distracted by the things of the world, but instead you're turning your focus and you're being more like Mary, and you're focusing on what's important. That relationship with God, the relationship with Jesus, the relationship with the Spirit, and the relationships with one another as well. We can live our lives being distracted, or we can try to work on it and lean a little bit more toward God. So maybe this next week, spend a few minutes each day, just a few minutes, being more like Mary and turning your thoughts to the things of God, other than your laundry list of things to do. And then the next day, spend a few minutes. Then a few minutes the next day. And then a few minutes the next day. And at the end of a week, just ask yourself, am I now closer to God than I was a week ago? And I hope the answer is, yeah, just a little bit. But let's really look at our lives, and let's learn from Mary. To give that time, to give that love to our Creator and to our Maker, instead of to all the busy stuff that we do. Today's the day we can stop being distracted and turn our attention back to where it belongs, back to God, and back to Christ. And I think for right now, that's a pretty good place to start. Would you pray with me, please? Gracious and glorious God, Lord, we thank you. We ask that you help us be a little bit less distracted and a little more focused on you this coming week. In your name we humbly pray. Amen.